Quentin Tarantino's big Hollywood epic had no shortage of fantastic scenes. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 moments from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. For this list, we're looking at the best scenes from Tarantino's 9th feature film. Since we'll be taking picks from the entire movie, a huge spoiler alert is in effect.
Oh no.
Number 10. Rick meets Mr. Schwartz. At the start of the film, actor Rick Dalton meets with a quirky talent agent named Marvin Schwartz.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Schwartz, and thank you for taking an interest.
Schwarz, not Schwartz.
Schwartz immediately gushes about the actor's career. While they talk, we get hilarious flashbacks to Rick's TV show, his cheesy commercial, and an over-the-top scene where he unleashes a flamethrower on Nazi soldiers.
Anybody order fried sauerkraut?
But after heaping praise, Schwartz warns Rick that if he keeps playing bad guys in bit parts, he'll fade into obscurity.
Down goes you, down goes your career as a leading man. Or do you go to Rome and star in westerns?
Rick does not take it well. His sobering conversation with Schwartz was a great way to kick off the film. It showed us who Rick was while also establishing what was at stake for him.
Whoa, whoa. Hey,
I'm sorry about that.
here, put these on.
Number 9. Sharon Tate goes to the movies. Sharon Tate decides to take a break from running errands to watch her recently released movie Wrecking Crew. After an awkward interaction, the theater staff realizes who she is and lets her in for free.
One, please. 75 cents.
What if I'm in the movie?
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm in the movie.
Tate loves every minute of the movie-going experience. She eagerly looks around to see how the audience reacts, laughs at the jokes, and it does her fight choreography as it plays on the big screen. What makes her trip to the movies especially poignant is that Margot Robbie didn't play Tate in the Wrecking Crew movie scenes. Tarantino used footage of the real Sharon Tate instead. Having Margot Robbie watch Sharon Tate was a beautiful and subtle tribute to an actress lost too soon. Number 8. Cliff's nightly routine. After a day of driving his boss around town, stuntman Cliff Booth heads home. His trailer home, ironically located behind a drive-in theater, is occupied by his loving pit bull Brandy. After presenting her with a bone,
Come here.
he prepares mac and cheese while making her an elaborate dinner. Despite Brandy's hunger, she waits until Cliff gives the order before eating. While the scene contains little dialogue, it speaks volumes about Cliff. He cares more about the obedient Brandy's diet than his own. His love for Brandy pays off hugely in the film's climax. And comparing Cliff's small dwelling to Rick's swanky Hollywood house shows us the huge wealth gap between the two men. If Rick fails, Cliff's humble life could fall apart. Number 7. Rick beats himself up. There are few things that frustrate an actor more than forgetting their lines.
I just want her to play the fiddle. Line?
Unfortunately, Rick keeps flubbing his lines while playing a villain on the TV show Lancer.
Come on now. I got it.
After delaying the shoot several times, he returns to his trailer and has a huge tantrum.
Maybe. I don't like the way he uses those boots to step on people.
Rick throws several objects, criticizes his drinking habits, and starts weeping. At one point, he even threatens himself.
I mean it, get together.
Rick's breakdown is a fantastic combination of funny dialogue, improv from Leo, and great physical comedy. Despite the hilarity of the scene, we can't help feeling a little sorry for Rick, and hopeful that he can get back on track. Number 6. Rick's fantastic performance.
See, honey, I told you they'd come to parlay.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Rick returns to set after his breakdown with a blistering performance. The scene is deceptively simple. Rick is playing an outlaw who holds a little girl for ransom, but he brings a lot of layers to the role this time around, going from charming to menacing at a moment's notice.
That is kind of funny.
It is. You do know kidnapping is a hanging offense.
So's blowing the heads off little girls.
He's become so comfortable with his character that he improvs lines without missing a beat. Although we were all laughing at Rick when we saw him in his trailer, he feels like a genuine threat during the shoot. By the time the scene concludes, Rick has earned every ounce of praise he receives.
That was the best acting I've ever seen in my whole life.
Like you.
Number 5. Trudi meets Rick. The most intimidating actor on Lancer was 8-year-old Trudi Fraser.
Would it bother you if I sat next to you and read my book too?
I don't know. Would you bother me?
I'll try not to.
When Rick meets her on set, she refuses to give her real name so she can stay in character. After discussing her serious acting philosophy,
It's the actor's job to avoid impediments to their performance. It's the actor's job to strive for 100% effectiveness. Naturally, we never succeed, but it's the pursuit that's meaningful.
Who are you?
You can call me Marabella.
she displays her intelligence by reading a biography on Walt Disney and coaching Rick on how to pronounce his character's name. While Trudi initially comes off as a strict professional, she's willing to comfort a co-star when he has a midlife crisis. Child actor Julia Butters did an excellent job at bringing out so many sides of Trudi in such a short scene. Although Tarantino does not usually do sequels, we would love to see a spin-off with Trudi Fraser.
I don't like names, like Pumpkin Puss, but since you're upset, we'll talk about that some other time.
Number 4. Rick and Cliff watch the F.B.I. One of Rick's numerous acting gigs was a guest role on an episode of the F.B.I.
You gonna come in and watch my F.B.I.?
Well, I just figured we would. I got a 6-pack in the back. Thought we'd order a pizza. All right.
When Rick and Cliff sit down to watch it, we discover that Tarantino inserted footage of Leo into an actual episode of the show. The visual effects were incredibly convincing on their own. However, Rick and Cliff's running commentary helped make the F.B.I. episode feel even more authentic.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
While this scene initially seems like another fun peek behind the Hollywood curtains, it also helps convince Rick's agent Schwarzs to put him in spaghetti westerns. Once again, Tarantino manages to quietly advance the plot while leaving us thoroughly entertained. Number 3. Bruce Lee versus Cliff Booth. While waiting around on the lot of the Green Hornet, Cliff laughs at Bruce Lee's claim that he could defeat Muhammad Ali, then still known by his birth name, Cassius Clay.
You're a little man with a big mouth and a big chip. And I think you should be embarrassed to suggest you be anything more than a stain on the seat of Cassius Clay's trunks.
After the two men exchange words, they agree to a friendly sparring match. While Lee gets an advantage early on with a jumping kick, Cliff hilariously counters by throwing Lee into a car. Just when the fight is heating up, it suddenly cuts short.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What the is going on here? Hey, this is our series lead.
Once the dent in her car is discovered by Janet, played by frequent Tarantino collaborator Zoe Bell, she loses her mind and gets Cliff fired.
But I did not know it was her car.
Get the wardrobe off, get your and get
Janet!
what?
Although the scene drew some criticism for its portrayal of Bruce Lee as a cocky fighter, it still contained some praiseworthy choreography and humor. Number 2. Cliff goes to Spahn Ranch. Cliff once performed stunts on his old friend George Spahn's ranch. When he discovers a group of hippies is now living there, he decides to check up on George.
Well, is there anything wrong with me saying hello to an old friend?
You can't see him right now.
Why can't I see him right now?
Because he's napping.
What the stuntman doesn't know is the hippies are members of the Manson family. Throughout the scene, creepy imagery and unsettling music seem to foreshadow that something terrible has happened to George. However, in a hilarious twist, it's revealed he was just sleeping. Unfortunately for Cliff, his curiosity gets him an earful from George.
Would that be the little redhead out front?
What is the matter with you?
And motivates a hippie named Steve to puncture his tire. After beating Steve up, Cliff makes him replace the tire before driving away. The entire sequence is a great bait and switch. Although Cliff leaves unharmed, it still feels like he's in danger. I gotta tell you, that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio is fighting with himself in the mirror is just epic. It's honestly one of my favorite scenes he's ever done. And while Quentin Tarantino is known for his dialogue, the #1 pick is mostly action-based. Any idea what it is? If you've seen the movie, you probably know. But let's check out these honorable mentions, and then we'll see what's at the top.
I've been up here by myself for 4 hours.
It's okay, honey. It's a friend of Terry's. We'll just take the back path.
Thank you kindly.
Man?
Are you joking?
No, I'm not. I need to see something official that verifies that you're 18, which you don't have because you're not.
Hi, Rick.
Cheryl, bye.
Oh, it's so nice to finally meet you.
I'm gonna tell you a story. She was engaged to him.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. #1. Final fight with the Manson family.
Can I help you?
Shortly after taking an acid-laced cigarette at Rick's house, Cliff finds himself surrounded by armed Manson family members Tex, Sadie, and Katie. Just when it seems like the stuntman is going down, he orders Brandy to attack. As Brandy viciously bites her enemies, Cliff uses quick thinking and his bare fists to brutally take out Tex and Katie. When a wounded Sadie runs into Rick's backyard, Rick pulls out his flamethrower and ends her. This fight scene shocked everyone for its violence and huge departure from the tragic historical events. But whether audiences loved or hated this twist, this scene is undeniably the most talked about moment of the film.
I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business.
No, it was dumber than that. Something like Rex.
God, shoot him, Tex!
Tex!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.